Hello friends, welcome to Nabla online maths. In this video, we are going to solve word problem in mathematics. And this is going to be our second example in this aspect of mathematics. So let's read the example that I have on the board together. The example says, a dog is chasing a rat. At the start, the dog is at A, 20 meters behind the rat at B. They both run at steady speeds, but the dog can run twice as fast as the rat. The rat runs in a straight line. When the dog reaches B, the rat is at C. When the dog reaches C, the rat is at D, and so on. Find the total distance the dog must run before it catches the rat. So this is a math word problem. And this talk about how a dog is chasing a rat to catch it. And the rat is running in a straight line. It means that the dog too will also run in a straight line. So to solve questions like this or problems like this, you have to analyze it mathematically. And one clue about solving this type of question is that every word, every phrase, every sentence has its mathematical interpretation. So you have to analyze the whole story mathematically. After that, you will now know the approach that you are going to use before you can solve, because there's no direct approach that you can use to solve word problem in mathematics. So you can only get the approach that you use to solve it after analyzing it. So we are going to analyze the whole of this mathematically so that we will now get the clue which approach are we using to solve it. So let's go over this question and pick out certain things. So if you read the whole story, it's talking about dog chasing a rat and the motion is in a straight line. So what I'll do is that I will just draw my straight line like this. And this is the beginning. That is at the start. Dog is at A. So I'll write A here. Then use capital D to represent my dog. Then rat is at B. Let me use capital R to represent rat. And the dog is at A, 20 meters behind the rat at B, meaning the distance between A and B is 20 meters. So after this, the dog, when the dog reaches B, you see that the rat will be at C. So the rat will also come here. So let me label here D. Here R, then here will be D1, here will be R1, because dog will not be here, then rat will also be here. But the question is telling us that the dog can run twice as fast as the rat. So twice means the dog distance will be half of this particular distance, I mean the initial distance. So we'll just divide 20 by 2 so that the distance will be closer by half. So here will now be 20 over 2, that will be 10 meters. Then after this, the dog will run and come here at C. Then you see that the rat will also now be at D. So here will be D2, then the rat will come here, and that will be R2. So to get this distance, we'll divide this distance by 2, because the dog will cover half of that. And 10 over 2 will give me 5 meters. And if you read the question, they are saying, and so on. It means that the running continues. So after this, you now pick these values. That is 20 meters, 10 meters, 5 meters, and so on means the running continues. Now, let's now look at the values. You see that these values, 20, 10, 5, is now in the form of a sequence. And you know that under series and sequence, we have two types of sequence. That is arithmetic progression or AP, and also have geometric progression or GP. and we have formulas of calculating their distance or sums. So if you are going to find the total distance that you are going to, the dog run before catching the rat, then you look at this sequence, what type of this? And definitely you realize that this is geometry progression. Geometry progression because it has a common ratio, which is 2. And we know that, which is half. To find the common ratio, which is the same thing as R is equal to, you take 2 consecutive terms, take the right term divided by the left term, or the preceding term divided by the preceding term. So here I'll have 10 over 20, and 10 over 20, 0 take away 0, then we'll have 1 over 2, or 10 into itself, 1, 10 into 20, 2. So the common ratio here is 1 over 2. Then you now look at it under GP. If you have a sequence, but we don't know the last term of that, then we'll use the sum to infinity formula. And the sum to infinity is represented by S with this sign, which is infinity, is equal to A over 1 minus R, or S, this sign, that is infinity, is equal to A over R minus 1. These are the formulas that we use when you have to solve a example like this in the series and sequence. You use this one or you use this. And now let's look at when you use this and when you use this. You use this particular formula when your common ratio is less than 1. Then you use this formula when your common ratio is greater than 1. So looking at this particular question, you can see that our common ratio, which is R, is half. So it is less than what? 1. So that means that we are going to use this particular formula. A over 1 minus R. So now, to define these terms, A is talking about the first term here, which is 20. R is our common ratio, which is half. Since we know them, we can now put them into this formula. To find the total distance the dog must run before it catches the rat. So I will now have x subscript infinity is equal to 20 over 1 minus half. So now, this will give me 20 over 1 minus half is half. And 20 over half, let's write it this way, 20 divided by 1 over 2. I can write it by saying 20 times, since I'm changing times, division to multiplication, then I have to take the reciprocal of half. Then 2 will go up and 1 will come down. And 20 times 2 is 40 divided by 1, which is the same thing as 40. Then we'll attach the units. So this simple means that the dog must run 40 meters. I mean, the distance should be 40 meters before it can catches the rat. So this is how we work questions like this. And looking at this, you see that the story is even longer than the solution itself. So at times, the story or the problem will be longer than the solution. And at times, when the story is small, the working to also be bigger. That is just a vice versa. So what you need to do is any mass word problem that you see, just read it thoroughly, analyze it mathematically. Then you will now know the formula or the approach that you are going to use before you can continue to solve. Thank you for watching this video. If this is your first time of watching, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, Nabla Online Maths, so that you will be notified anytime a new video is being uploaded. You can also share my Facebook post for others to watch because I will continue solving more words problems. Thank you once again and have a nice day. Bye bye.